Welcome back to session 115, The Art of Loving Your In-Laws. Today's mood music is brought to you by Kina Granis, and she is doing the cover of Can't Help Falling in Love. Fool say. Okay.
First of all, let me let y'all know.
Uh-huh.
I got some new glasses and I can see things as close, but when I look at the camera, it gets blurry. So if y'all keep seeing me take my glasses off, it's because it's making my eyes watery when I look away. So I'm trying not to cry on y'all.
Oh my God.
So I'm gonna try. I want to look at the camera, but I might not because that's gonna annoy me.
Okay. So that's good to know.
So it's really not a definition for this. It's really just, we're going to be talking about how you get along with your in-laws or partners, family, or I would say platonic friends, family too, because if they, mean a lot,
family.
yeah. Because if you, care about this person, they care about you. You of course want to celebrate certain things with them, and you want to be around them too. So it doesn't have to necessarily be just romantic. It can be platonic too.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is your relationship doomed if you don't get like your partner's family? So let me ask that again. Is your relationship doomed if you don't like your partner's family?
I don't think your relationship is doomed if you don't like your partner's family or, whomever. I think it kind of depends on, do they like their family? Because if they don't, then no. It won't even matter. But if they are close to their family, I don't know if your relationship is necessarily doomed, but it can cause a strain on your relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that a relationship will be doomed. I think it's going to come down to, are y'all a good match? Are y'all effectively communicating about the issues that y'all are facing? And also, do y'all have appropriate boundaries put in place? If you got that together, then y'all good. You still gonna have problems, but y'all gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think you have to get along with your family, your partner's family, but I do believe that depending on their relationship, it can cause a strain in the relationship, which can eventually cause your relationship to end, depending on how their relationship is with their family.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it depends on who you have the problem with in the family.
I would agree with that. Because somebody's voice is going to be loud, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure out whose voice is the loudest.
Yeah.
Is it the mother? Is it the father? Is it a grandparent? A sibling? Those are most likely going to be the first ones that have the loudest and the most listened to voice in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it definitely can be a hindrance if it's the sister and you and the sister have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You and mom and everybody else are getting along, but if you don't get along with my sister.
Mm-hmm. So question, what if it starts off with everybody, we are family, we love each other, but then something happened, and then now I got an issue with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I feel the same way that I felt. Like at the end of the day, a lot of times issues are going to come up. Like y'all are humans. Nobody's a robot, nobody thinks the same on every single topic. So it really is going to come down to, how you respect each other in differences, how you communicate issues and frustrations. And then, what does the integrity look like for each of these individuals? Because if you got old girl over here playing dirty, but you over here playing, with the integrity that you're supposed to have and all of that, what your partner may be seeing may not be what they're actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so many different scenarios that pop up in my head, but I feel like it's still the same thing. Like y'all have to make sure y'all are on the same page, and if y'all aren't, how long can you stay in this situation and still be healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think a thing that contributes to that is your partner, like you said, you and their relationship on
how they pressure you if they do,
Mhm.
you know, what expectations do they have of you in mending this relationship with whomever this other person is in the family,
Yeah.
or whether they expect you to not even mend, but just go along to get along.
And to add to all of that, I think it depends on the healthiness of the family. Because if your family is unhealthy if your partner's family is unhealthy and something unhealthy happens, they're used to the unhealthiness, so they're not going to potentially side with you because they're used to the unhealthiness. So you will feel like you're left on an island by yourself.
Yeah. So I think when scenarios like that occur, absolutely, it can set the stage and, you know, kind of lead you down that path of doom. I don't know if it's a guarantee, but I definitely believe from there it can create that scenario where it's more likely for the relationship to end, or just be filled with drama.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
which is tiring.
Which is when somebody gonna leave me because I don't like drama.
Right.
So
yeah, I know when I got married, that was one of my requirements. That I was not going to marry somebody if I did not get along with my in-laws. Now, when I say get along, I don't mean, you know, we have to be
at each other's house every day.
Yeah, and calling each other all the time. And, you know, it doesn't have to be like that. But when we come together, I want it to be cohesive, you know, no issues. Like we can all get along while we're together, but it doesn't have to be, you know, this kumbaya thing. But that was a requirement for me. I just knew that I wanted that for myself growing up without a whole lot of family, you know. I'm not going to go into all the details on why I don't have a whole lot of family, but I don't have a whole lot of family. So I knew that once I started getting an extended version of that, I wanted to be able to get along with the people that were a part of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, what do you think are some of the reasons why there are problems with in-laws?
The first answer to come to mind is when, and I'm just using this as a woman, when you marry a mama's boy. They tend to be the moms tend to be overly involved in the relationship, and sometimes for women starting off, that may seem like, oh, that's so nice, so cute, blah blah blah, until
it's a great relationship with his mom.
Exactly. Until there becomes an issue and she takes his side and he's wrong.
So go back and watch Think Like a yes. Think I was gonna say How Did I Get Married? I was like, nope, wrong movie. Think Like a Man. You know, when he had to stand up for who the character's name? I don't remember.
I got
Regina Hall.
And Terrence J.
Yeah, when he eventually had to stand up for her against his mother.
Yeah.
Because every moment up until then, you know, he was just kind of letting mama be mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the first answer that comes to mind. Is when you are involved with the mama's boy.
Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the biggest, most glaring ones.
Yeah, like
or daddy's girl.
Yes. Like I said earlier, it's the boundaries too. When you are entering into a family or you are coming from a family that does not have any boundaries, that I can do whatever I want to. I can come over your house whenever I want to. I'm number one. Like when you don't have any sort of order in your family system, and you don't really realize that until you marry somebody outside your family system, there's going to be some rocking a boat, some shaking the tables. And you have to make sure that y'all communicate that stuff and get it somewhat cohesive.
Yeah. I was thinking another kind of big one is different value systems. So, you know, if you are a more conservative person, but you marry a more liberal, progressive individual, that can
Mhm.
sometimes cause a lot of strife in the family, especially if your family is on either side of that.
Yeah.
There can be heated discussions. People get very dogmatic and dig their heels in on the things that they believe in. Insert religion. That's another one that can cause big drama-filled moments within a family. If you come from two totally different religious backgrounds, if one is trying to get their partner to convert over into a different religion. Those are two additional kind of big things that come to mind that will cause problems in a in-law type situation.
Yeah.
That's why I believe important question conversations need to be had in the beginning. And if you already know that that's not something you will be able to subscribe to, then stop. Don't try to make it work. Don't try to force it. It kind of reminds me of the interview we did with Lag, where we was talking about, I think it was 90 Day Fiance, one of those shows, I can't remember. And the couple,
Love is Blind.
And it was a couple on there who, one had a strong religious background and the other one was an atheist.
Yeah.
And they kept trying to make that work. Why are you trying? First of all, your family is heavily religious.
Gotcha.
So why are you trying to make that work?
Yep.
So it's certain things about a relationship and family that you just it just don't need to happen unless you gonna cast yourself out of your family.
Or be prepared to deal with whatever the fallout is for dealing with the other person's family.
Yep.
Yeah.
That too.
I was watching or reading something, I can't remember what it was, but the story essentially said that this person that was telling the story was an adult woman, and she said that she never knew her grandmother, and she didn't know why until recently when she asked her parents, have they ever had like any fights or any arguments, because she had never seen them fight. And so the mother was like, or the father said, no, we really don't have any arguments. What you see is what you get with us. And he said that a long time ago, before this particular child was born, my mother lived with us. And I didn't know that my mother was being verbally abusive to my wife, and my wife was just taking it. And then the wife started talking about it, and she was like, yeah, she would say these things and so on and so forth. And one day I just couldn't take no more. And I was like, I'm going to have to leave. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And he wasn't seeing any of that, so he didn't know. And so he saw his wife leaving, and he was like, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I can't lose her. I don't know all that's going on, but I'm going to have to side with my wife because I know her heart.
Yeah.
And so he chose his wife, and his mother immediately disowned him.
Oh, wow.
Immediately disowned him. And the wife said, because the husband got silent after that, because obviously that's still emotional for them, but the wife said, that made me have more respect for him. It made me see him in a different light. But I knew that he was going to have a lot of struggles going forward if he was choosing this, because he grew up in a single parent household. He's Haitian. And, in a lot of first generation American families, it's very much so almost I owe my parent because they made so many sacrifices.
Yeah.
Their love is very visceral, very visual. So they're like, no, I gotta have her back. But he saw how much this was impacting her. And she said, we've never had an argument because this was 1986. They said that the year in 1986 this happened to us. And we realized that if something like that can happen to us, and we have to make a choice to stand with each other, then we always have to come to each other. I was like, y'all be out here this early in the morning. And,
Wow.
it was just, you don't typically see that.
Yeah.
Typically you see, oh, it's not that bad, or no, it's some type of brushing it under the rug. And one person, or sometimes more than one, but typically there's one person that's going to suffer. Typically in silence.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good story.
It was.
I was into that.
I wish I had person that shared their family story because I was like, man, because we know a lot of couples that are in similar predicaments, being first generation or, you know, that from traditional to Americanized, traditional or whatever, is a very hard pivot. And so we as therapists tend to see a lot of those type of relationships. Not so much when it's just the American, it's like, oh, I don't like her, she ain't good enough. Versus you have these deep, fundamental parts of who you are.
Yeah.
Rocked.
Yeah.
That's intense.
What do you think y'all would do? Like if y'all
In
were
that
in a
situation?
you know, that's hard. As the one
As
being
the receiver?
abused and the one whose parent is
Okay, I was like,
abusing
which
both sides.
one am I? Ooh.
So,
Yeah.
as the one being abused, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not staying silent, and I'm not staying here. So, we three can have a conversation, and after this conversation, if it keep happening, Mama, we're gonna have to go to blows. Or I already done, and I'm not talking about physically because I don't fight no more. But
I don't condone violence.
right, I
But
don't
I choose
condone
violence.
But with my words, I choose violence. So we gonna have to go to blows with these words because he gonna hear it. We're not gonna we're not gonna be sneaky. No. If you bold enough to say it behind these closed doors, be bold enough to say it outside these closed doors. But as the husband, I would definitely I would listen to both sides, but I would also side with my partner. As we always say, we can't get into bed with our parent. I'm not trying to get into bed with that parent, and you know, we're not getting ready to build a life. I mean, you raised me to build a life apart from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
I think if I was the one that was being abused, first I'm gonna go to my partner because this is your parent.
Yeah.
Right. Like, look, I need you to get your mama in check or your daddy in check. Like, I'm gonna let you handle it first because this is your parent. You know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
You know, because you've lived with them your whole life. Then I'm gonna wait and see how's it going. If I'm still receiving, you know, this abusive nature, then from there, I'm just going to leave. Because obviously, if you talking to your parent didn't resolve the issue, what in the world chance do I have of resolving the issue? Because you're their child. So their respect is going to be leaning heavily more towards you than me. So, you know, there's no point in me staying here anymore. If it was my parent being the one that was abusive, we're putting a stop to that immediately. So if you, and I know that you've been abusive towards my partner, then no, I would have to end my relationship with my parents. If they have not done anything to you to warrant that type of behavior, now if they came in there and cussed you out, did all kinds, then hold up, wait a minute now you disrespecting my parents. Right, now you disrespecting my parents, right?
Yeah.
But I've never seen or heard or even gotten a hint that my partner has done something disrespectful to you and you're just being abusive towards them, then yeah, I'm gonna have to love you from a distance.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel pretty much the same. As someone who has been in situations, not with someone's parent, because people's parents typically like me, but in abusive relationships before, I don't have a good tolerance for that coming at me. So I definitely would have a conversation with my significant other at that time because that's big for me. If I have to handle your people, then I'm not going to be dealing with you. Like that's just always something that's been in my head. And I don't mean like I'm not going to talk or stand up for myself or anything like that. But if I'm having to do all the heavy lifting with your folks, that don't really work out well in my brain. So I would allow him to do that first. And then based off of whatever those actions are after that, he and I would then have another conversation. And if it's what we doing? What are we getting divorced? Because I didn't wait all this time to find you, and now I'm getting abused by your family. Yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm sorry. Now, if it was my family, I would definitely go, hey, you're going to have to stop that now. We don't do that here. And really, I only have to worry about one parent, because I was raised by a single mother. But my father he's going to be happy-go-lucky. You need a beer. That's going to be my dad. That's not, he's not really going to be involved in it like that. But if it was my mom, it would hurt me to my core. But I would have the conversation. And if she can't abide by that, then she getting cut off. It would hurt me deeply. But I know my mom, and she would be like, okay, let me get it together.
Oh yeah, like in a real world scenario,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that with my parents.
Because my parents would come to me if something wasn't right, or if they said something sideways or whatever. My parents, especially my mom will come to me. Now my dad probably handled it himself, but my mom will come to me. And the way my mom's personality is, you gonna feel bad saying something out the side of your neck to my mama. Now don't get it twisted. She will get you straight, but just her normal personality, you'll feel bad saying something outside of your neck to her. Now my dad, he just likes to, have conversation and get to know you. So my dad also, people love him.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was going to ask y'all something else. You had said something that made me think of something else, but I can't remember.
It'll come to you. But just to kind of wrap that up, I do think you have to know yourself and know your family. And I think we've said this a little bit before. And you have to understand your partner. You got to communicate to the audience that you're trying to speak to. So your partner can only, how they can be handled, how your family can be handled, and you are the piece that connects these two together.
But see, I also know how I want to be handled as well. So for me, I'm not that person. No. You're not going to talk to me like that. You're not going to treat me like that. And I'm going to go ahead and let you know that from gate. Now, that is different from someone from, like my mother-in-law. I'm so happy. I'm so lucky. I got some good in-laws. But my mother-in-law, if I call her and we're talking about something and, she will correct me. She will give me some criticism. She will give me some feedback, but it's all in love. It's not disrespectful. It's not, and it may be something that I really don't want to hear, but I need to hear. That's not what we're talking about.
That's healthy, what you're describing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, because difficult people are necessary in your life, or difficult conversations are necessary in your life.
You gotta grow. Like, I'm not gonna do everything right. Now, don't come talk to me crazy, because I have an issue with that. Like, with words of affirmation, being one of my love languages. If you talk to me crazy, you essentially just cut me up in little pieces. And now I must feed into my dark energy and hurt you. I don't need to do that to people. No. It's not healthy.
I don't want that. So with that said, then, do you guys think it's possible to, if you have an in-law that is unhealthy, do you think it is possible to develop a relationship with that in-law or that set of in-laws?
Yeah, it just ain't gonna be what you thought it was gonna be. And I'm a firm believer in show up the way you're supposed to show up, be who you're gonna be, and then based off of what's happening in the relationship, you may have to, tear yourself down to, in some situations, no contact at all, but in others, it may just be more on that you came for the barbecue.
Gotcha.
It just depends.
Yeah. And I think it depends. I think it goes along with what Dr. Wall was saying earlier about having boundaries. You definitely, if they are unhealthy, that's one you definitely know you have to have boundaries with and follow through.
That part.
Yeah.
Boundaries do nothing if you aren't consistent with the follow through.
There are consequences and repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are some things that y'all feel the interns that are in some of these situations can kind of do to, set their boundaries or facilitate a healthier relationship with those in-laws or their significant other's family?
One of the things I would say is, what is the consistent thing that keeps getting brought up? Like, is it that you're not good enough for that person's child or sibling or whomever the person is? Like,
you better than me.
Right. Like, what is the thing that keeps getting discussed?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can really move if you don't know what it
Yeah.
is, So I would say first figure that out. And once you figured it out, okay, one, internalize whether if that's true or not. Because, like, do I think I'm better than other people? Is my behavior showing that I think that I should be the center of attention?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to listen to people's criticism and see, okay, maybe there is something that I'm doing that could be triggering that in that person.
Yeah.
If it's not, then from there, I think now we got to start talking about boundaries and conversations and limits and things on what you're going to set with people as necessary.
Yeah.
I would say that's a first step.
And don't be afraid to take responsibility for those things. And if you are exuding those traits that people are saying about you, then you gain respect by being honest and having a dialogue and be like, you know what, that's something that I need to look into because I never saw myself like that. But tell me some things that you see that is making you think that about me.
Yeah.
Because difficult conversations are not meant for someone to walk away angry. It's meant for some resolve to come out of it. And just because someone gives you a critique, it doesn't mean that you have to then pop off and begin to attack them.
No.
Listen to what they're saying. If there's value in it, then okay, appreciate that value and take responsibility.
Right.
If there's not, you can also have a dialogue about that. Like, that's not something anyone has ever told me about myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing would be to lay the foundation for the rules and regulations that your relationship exists within. So that starts from day one of you meeting the person. And what works for y'all as a couple has to also branch out to who y'all give permission to enter into y'all's relationship or have access to y'all's relationship. So that's friends, families, co-workers, just different things like that. And if y'all are not on the same page, one person gonna have real lax boundaries and rules, regulations, the other may be real strict, or y'all both may be real loose or real strict, so you really have to sit down with each other and know what is acceptable. And I'm a firm believer in what's good for the goose need to be good for the gander. So it needs to work on both sides of the family.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And if it's something that's a little bit more fundamental, not just a personality clash. So if we're talking about religious reasons or race, these are core identifiers
and things that can't be changed.
Right. Yes.
Well, I was thinking about the religion.
Yeah, no, I knew you were going. So I would say if it's a core value system where there's some familial clash, then really individually sitting down and is this something that I can work through? And is this something I can work with? Because I know that, if my family is Protestant, but I'm marrying a Muslim person, and my family's like, oh, no. Is that something I can live with? Or if they're saying that about me, is this something I can live with? If I know, like, what is the ultimate goal here? Is the goal that I want my life with my partner, or is my goal that I want life with the family?
I know people use this phrase loosely, but when you meet people, you need to determine if you're equally yoked, and not just spiritually. That means spiritually, yes, but it also means like personality. It means like the same ideals and beliefs other than religion. Like, do you believe that y'all supposed to eat dinner at 6 o'clock together every day.
Mm-hmm.
Those types of beliefs as well. So that's also a part of the, don't marry somebody that's unequally yoked. It's not just spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
I want to give some extra meat and potatoes for that. So if you know what yoked means, YOKED, it comes from back in the day and still in some places where you yoke an oxen together. Two oxens have to be able to till the earth together at the same pace. If you don't, if you have one pulling more weight, your lines are going to be uneven as you farm your land. So you want your yoke to be balanced between the two oxen. That's where that comes from. And a lot of times couples, individuals are not doing the work that they need to do to even know what their beliefs are, what they want, what they like, to be able to express that to their significant other, and then y'all do it together. Like that is one of the major issues that I see in couples counseling, whether they are religious, spiritual, atheist, or whatever. It's just y'all don't know what y'all want.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all don't have anything to stand on. Y'all don't have a foundation. Y'all wishy-washy, and then you start adding all these other folks into y'all business, and it's messed up.
And you start adding more years to that, and you already don't have a solid foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't have a solid foundation, when you add more things to it, it's going to continue to crack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed with all that. Okay. Any other thoughts, ladies?
Also, make sure you have a good circle of people around you.
Yeah.
People that you can lean on and give you unbiased feedback, information, and take your butts to therapy. I don't know why y'all don't want to go to therapy. It's for you. If y'all want to struggle. I'm not struggling.
Got that right.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We're therapists. Take it from us. We know.
Okay.
But y'all know we always end off with a quote. And I'm sorry to this person if I butcher your name. Jody Picoult. My mother used to tell me that when push comes to shove, you always know who to turn to. That being a family isn't a social construct, but an instinct.